Hello, I'm JW, and here we are at Tresham College, and what we've got here, nice selection of old fuse boxes and consumer units, and we've got a bit of old cable and stuff as well, and some rather unusual plugs. And what should we start with?
I don't mind, John. So before John gets into his full roadshow, so we're doing this a live roadshow, so you should look around behind the camera, you can't see it. John's actually doing this to a live audience, so this is something you normally do in a back bedroom or the garden at home, is that true?
That's it.
Okay, so we're doing it live here at Tresham. Before we start that, it's an absolute privilege to have John join us, okay? It was almost a 4-hour trip up to us.
Yeah.
And that makes it a 4-hour trip to get home, does it not?
Yeah.
Okay, so an 8-hour travelling event to come and see us and the 50 learners that we've got here. So on camera, John, we'd like to give you a massive thanks, and I'm sure everybody here would like to give a massive thanks as well. Changing lives on YouTube, educating the electrical industry as well as making it fun and entertaining. So John's going to do a live version of what we do on your YouTube channel with us for our students here. So I'm going to be nice and quiet as John goes through some of the accessories in front of him. Thanks, John.
Right, we'll start with this one. Metal consumer units, not new at all. They're new now because you're supposed to fit all metal ones, but this one, probably 30, 40 years old. Anyone know what make it is?
Shout it out.
No.
Is it MEM?
No.
That was Joe Robinson, by the way, got it wrong.
Bit of a fail there. Yeah, this is a Crabtree.
Is it Crabtree, John?
Yeah.
Hey!
Good,
Crabtree.
These Crabtree, these are C50s, which are a bit unusual because they don't have the standard trip mechanism in. Instead of the, they normally have a bimetallic strip. These have a silicone filled plug and a magnet around the outside. Very common once, now they're not common at all. And in theory, you can still get them if you need replacements, but
wow.
In reality, ridiculously expensive. So unfortunately, like a lot of most of this stuff, if you've got one of these, it's well due for replacement.
Okay.
Main problem with these is no RCDs, and you can't fit them either.
Okay.
So that's pretty much the situation with all of these, and that if you've got one of these, say in someone's house or something, if it gets to putting a new circuit in or whatever, you're kind of stuffed because no RCD, and there's not really any way of fitting one other than sticking one on outside in a sort of a separate enclosure or something, but by the time you've done that, you might as well just rip the whole thing out and
there's going to be a few more issues, I think, other than the fact that we probably haven't got an RCD fitted as we go through.
This one is not too bad, other than the fact there's no RCD, but unfortunately that's just due to the age of the things.
And you've removed all of these consumer units that we're looking for us?
Most of them, yeah. I think this one, I think, was donated by somebody. But yeah, pretty much all these have come out of various houses and other places that I've worked on over the last 10 years. Now this thing, which is a plastic one, anyone guess what the name of it is? Can you? Yeah, well done. Yeah, MEM, that's the one.
Way.
These are quite unusual because they've got these plug-in circuit breakers. You can actually rip one out there. Most of these actually had fuses, either the cartridge fuse or the rewirable style. But this one has the...
so were these state of the art for the day then, John?
Pretty much, yeah.
Because you can reset them. They're fantastic. That's a good idea, isn't it?
Absolutely.
I think there was one or two other drawbacks with them.
Yeah, there were a few drawbacks. Anyone know one of them when it's pressed in?
They get welded in.
Yeah, they can get welded in, so they don't actually work. And then there's another one. If you've got a row of these under the stairs in your house, and then you've got a load of coats hanging down.
Yes.
Because these are literally just touch this red button and it trips out. I have been to houses where that has been the fault.
Right.
So you go in someone's house, oh, my power's not working, and you go on the stairs, well, actually, you just press this and now it's working. That'll be 50 quid, please. Yeah. They,
and front on, it's really difficult under stairs cupboard. It's very difficult to see that it's actually pulling itself out from its position. There's no other indicator, is there?
Yeah, so you can't really see them, but they're a fairly unusual one. The Wilex ones are fairly common in these, which we'll look at on the ones we've got in a minute, but unfortunately these are not compatible with the Wilex because the blades are the other way around. So, and again, if you've got one of these, no RCDs, not possible to fit one either. You occasionally see these with an RCD in a separate enclosure outside, but that doesn't really comply either.
Issue with braking capacitors on them?
Braking capacitors, it's not too bad. I mean, because they're as long as it's in a domestic situation, because you've got the fuse in the main cut out, that provides the backup protection for that, but they're pretty low, 3 kA in most cases.
Yeah, they are, yeah, that's right. Okay, on to the, I don't know, the Antiques Roadshow, and we're going to be doing the veneer, no doubt, and all the rest of it.
Yeah, this one, I don't think this has ever been used, because it's super clean, and there's no fuse wire in it either.
Oh, right, okay, wow.
It's literally as new. It says war finish, which gives you a kind of idea when it was actually made. War finish mainly because they would have made it in a better case, and because it was the war they didn't have much resources, so hence it was made down to a cheap and nasty brown paint job. What's unusual about this, as in we've got 2 rows of fuses. This top is going to be for your line, the bottom is going to be for the neutral. So this is actually a neutral fused thing, which is no longer permitted and hasn't been since mid-50s.
Okay, yep.
But
no means of isolation for the whole consumers unit either?
No isolation, so you would have a separate switch outside
connection
of
for
it.
the circuit protective conductor, no earth bar or anything?
No.
And made of a nice combustible material?
Yeah, nice teak or something there, so dries out and a few sparks.
We've got positive side though, we've got a lovely distribution board chart that we
nice
can fill in.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
That's the future.
But yeah, double pole fusing. What's the main problem with double pole fusing? Anybody?
We might be struggling there. Go on then, John.
Okay. Fusing the line and the neutral. If the fuse blows, you've got no way of knowing which it's going to be. If the neutral fuse fails, circuit is still live. So it doesn't work, but of course you touch it and then you're basically dead because there's no RCDs or anything on these either. And so that is Crabtree. Again, same as that one.
Come a long way, come a long way. Do you want to take one of these two?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now these, anyone guess what name it is? No? Too shy, aren't they?
They are too shy,
They're
John.
too shy. Right, this is the Wilex one. These are really, really common. Millions and millions are installed all over the UK. And there's still millions of them out there as well. So if you go to people's houses, it's not unusual to find something like this. There's also a white version as well.
Have you got this one, Westy? Is this your one? You're not telling me it's one of these, are you?
How far I have the MEN?
You had this one?
That one.
Okay, so Westy's still, and he's obviously a practicing electrician. Have you not got around to change it yet, Westy? No, one day. Yeah, one day.
No,
a day hopefully comes before you kill yourself.
Yeah, these things, say very common, various sizes. You can get this as a 6-way, and it's the black one, which will be a 70s effort. They did make cream and white ones for a later date, but they're all basically the same.
I like the cream ones because you'd have the skid mark up there where the fuse is blown, so you always had a good idea when you went to the distribution board if it was a brand new one,
What's the main thing you never do with these if a fuse is blown? What did you first before you go pulling fuses out?
You always isolate it. I want to a very nasty shock.
You most certainly do.
That was Joe Robinson again.
Yeah. If you don't turn these off, if you just pull out the fuse, which we'll attempt to do. Oh, and there's the base flying off. If these are wired correctly, then it's reasonably safe to pull it out, but the problem is that people often put the wires in these wrongly and it just strays over the top.
It does.
So when you put your fingers here, you're actually touching the fuse wire and then you get a nice shock from it. And because there's no RCD, of course, then you know the result.
Yeah, we do.
These things, bizarrely, are still in the VIR 7671 regulations.
Yep.
Whether they should be is another story for another day. But they are still in there, so if you go to someone's house and you've got one of these and the fuse is blown, you can just put the wire in and put it back in, but of course you need to find out what the fault is first. Yeah. And the other thing you never do with these is when the power's turned on, you do not ever get one of these and shove it in. Any idea why? Yeah, if there's a fault there and you're holding this and you shove it in, that fuse wire is going to vaporise and it's going to spray molten copper at both ends, and if you're holding it, it's going to go onto your fingers. So you've got a nice burn there, as well as the electric shock risk. So these are all pretty much the same, including the white ones. Yeah. Nice wooden frame on this one. They did change over to plastic a bit later, but wooden frame there. And these are quite often mounted on a bit of chipboard or something on the wall as well. Yeah. So any sparks inside, a nice bit of dry, dusty kindling inside. So
yeah, absolutely. Get the fire going.
Yep,
that's good.
Sets it off there.
Fantastic. Okay.
That's the smaller one. Pretty much the same deal. This is just your 4-way with the 3 most common types of fuses there.
Yeah, and we're happy with the colour. We'll do that another time, but we're happy with those colour
Yep.
fuses. And the wiring system likely to be attached to some of these consumers unit, not necessarily extensively. We'll have early PVCs as well, but we've got some of those examples here. You've talked about them before on your channel. We've got your vulcanised Indian rubber and lead sheath cables.
Yep, this stuff here, you can see what's gone wrong with this already. Rubber with a cotton braid over the top.
It is, yep.
Perfectly fine when it was put in. When this was made, it was supposed to have about a 25-year lifespan. Now, they haven't actually made this stuff for at least 50 years.
And it's still out there.
So if you find any of this, what's the obvious thing to say?
Replace it.
Yeah, it needs replacing, there's no question about it. Because say it's at least 25 years past its sell-by date. And as you can see with this piece here, looks okay, but when it gets moved, you get these, it just breaks completely apart.
And if it's
Crumbles
anything
away.
warm, say a lamp holder and that,
Yeah.
the heat destroys the cables as
And
well.
like we've got here, it's just crumbling away to dust.
State of the art at the time, no different to the consumer unit.
Yeah.
So these weren't picked and installed to be a poor effort at the moment in time, were they? They
No,
were
at
the
the
best
time,
we could
that is
possibly
what
do.
you
That.
did.
Yeah, possibly do at
And
the
say
time.
when this was put in, they didn't expect it to last more than 25 years, but unfortunately, there's some still out there.
Corby, these gentlemen for Corby, a lot of the properties around here 15, 20 years ago was rewiring that were all in vulcanised Indian
Yeah.
rubber. That's what they put in. They were probably the last swing of it going in before PVC changed over. Of course, then we forgot the CPC on the lights, so we're now swinging those out, etc.
Yep.
That's really good. Anything else, John?
Yeah, this here is kind of twin with no earth. The earth is, in theory, the outside covering, this is made of lead. It's extremely heavy. Someone's smashing it up over there, so... this stuff, again, hasn't been made for even longer than this stuff, so you're talking 60, 70 plus years old for this. So as with that, if you find any of this in anyone's house, this needs to be replaced pretty much immediately. In fact, it should have been replaced decades ago anyway. And the same problem with this really, because the inner conductors are basically the same as these, so dry out, crumble away. And of course, because you've got your lead covering on the outside, this might be earthed, but of course it might not. And if it isn't, you end up with all this becoming live, and someone just brushes against it or touches it.
Yeah.
And obviously electric shock time.
Oh, very good idea.
Leg there, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then this stuff here, which is sort of between the two of those.
Yes.
Twin with no earth, so it's rubber, both sides, on the outside and the inside cores as well. And again, hasn't been made 50 years plus, so got any of that, definitely needs to go. And there's no earth, so quite often find people have sort of just shoved on like new metal light fittings or little light switches, and there's this behind it.
Yeah.
Absolutely unsafe.
It comes back to the DIY problem though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because no electrician would actually install a metallic light fitting with no CPC,
Well,
but of
certainly
course,
hope not.
Dad and Mum at the DIY
Yeah.
shops definitely do, don't they?
And the problem with that is, oh, it works, so it must be all right.
That's fine, yeah,
But of course,
absolutely.
as we know, it isn't.
We'll finish this one off here, and then we'll have another chat about where we've gone to next. So we might have John's opinion on AFDDs, because you've done a video on that very recently.
Yes, we
very easy
have.
to get them to trip, I
Oh,
see
yeah,
on your
that's
video.
right. Yeah. Only took 10 minutes. So.
Yeah. Doubled the load, didn't you? And you're trying to crack a massive arc, and that. So there's obviously some, obviously either teething problems with them, or we've not quite worked out what type of arc they're going to protect. SPDs are a big thing now, and we can talk about whether you're started fitting those in your current electrical installations on the next part maybe. And we've got the newer style metallic consumers unit. So we'd like to thank, and everybody here would like to thank John. When we like to thank John. So there's a live version of what John puts out twice a week on his channel. We were very lucky because we asked John Ward to come and visit us, and John Ward accepted our invitation. Thank you very much, John.